Hello, and welcome back to the Guitar Reliquary. Today on the Guitar Reliquary, I'm going to be taking you through the Peavey HP2 in this stunning tiger eye finish. So let me see if I can get you some nice shots of this beautiful guitar. So I was on vacation this past weekend, and I stopped at a music store that was near where we were vacationing, and they were having a huge sale. And, you know, I had been there before a few years ago, and I noticed this guitar then, but $24.99 is the retail price for these, and that was a bit much, in my opinion. It's gorgeous, obviously. So I was able to score it for substantially less, and it was in need of some work. So I hope you checked out the video where I actually went through and leveled the frets. If you haven't, please go do so, because it's got some nice tips and tricks of how I do this. But this is a 2018 new old stock guitar. And aside from the wear on the fretboard, which I cleaned up with some GHS guitar gloss, and overall just sort of dirtiness of sitting in a shop, it's really not damaged. So it has a few tiny little indentations on the back, but that doesn't bother me because I'm probably going to bang it, being the clumsy idiot that I am. So let's go through the features of the guitar, and let's get you to hear some tones, so you can decide whether or not you think something like this might be worth picking up. So right off the bat, it comes with a beautiful cloth-covered Peavey case, and since this is a 2018 model, it has a certificate of authenticity stating that it was made in the United States, because I believe these came out in 2017, and then in 2020, they moved production to the Czech Republic. So new ones will be produced in the Czech Republic. So this guitar has a basswood body, and that basswood body is joined to what they call a generously thick carved maple top. So it is a beautiful carved top, as you can see, and that carved top is covered on mine in quilt maple, but I have seen some in flame maple. And really what drew me to this was the top. It's a gorgeous top on this guitar. Lots of angel hair, lots of movement in the light. I'll take some videos so you can see what I'm talking about. That maple top and basswood body is joined to a bird's eye maple neck and fretboard, and it appears to be a one-piece bird's eye neck. I do not see any seams on the back, but the fretboard is obviously a separate piece that has to be removed and then rejoined so that the truss rod can be installed. Then, of course, at the top of the headstock, it's got a painted black Peavey headstock, and I think you either like the Peavey headstock design or you don't. As far as other features on this guitar, it has a Peavey branded licensed Floyd Rose. It seems to be a very quality Floyd Rose, but perhaps not to the level of the Schaller Floyd Roses or to the level of the Floyd Rose 1000s. I do find that it takes some getting used to. I also really don't like the way that the whammy bar is inserted, the tremolo arm is inserted. It just screws in and it kind of hangs. So you can screw it tight, but it just starts to cross thread if you do that, and you don't really get that that fixed position. So probably one of the springs that Fender uses in their tremolos would resolve this issue. So that Floyd Rose trem is the bridge on it. It has all the same features of a regular Floyd Rose you've come to know and love. It has two humbuckers. These are Peavey humbuckers. They are custom voiced for this guitar, and I actually find them to be very clear, very punchy, and overall the best feature of the guitar. I'm really impressed with the pickups in it. I had read some reviews online where people said they had to shim up the bridge pickup. That's not my experience. I think the bridge pickup sounds just great where it is. The pickups can be tapped separately by a volume coil tap and a tone coil tap. These are master volume and master tone controls. Three-way switch, so you can get neck, the two together, and then bridge only. The truss rod adjustment is at the heel of the neck, which I love. You can just use one of those Ernie Ball truss rod tools to truss it. It has reinforcement rods through the neck, so I found the neck to be very stable, even though I've only owned it for about, I don't know, a week now. It has jumbo frets on this 22 fret neck. It is, I believe, a 25.5 inch scale length, like a Fender, not the shorter scale length of a Gibson. A 15 inch fretboard radius, so flatter than most of the guitars I've showed on my channel so far, but I find it to be very comfortable. The lock nut is actually expertly installed on this guitar. There is no gap between it and the fret end of the fretboard, and it's also the appropriate height. I didn't have to lower it, which I love. It has a string tree to account for the amount of tension that needs to be on the back of the lock nut. Though they claim the 10-degree tilt of the headstock is supposed to aid in not needing that, they still put it on. It's fine. String trees are not a problem for me, especially when the truss rod adjust is at the other end of the neck. And then it has some Schaller non-locking tuners with some gorgeous perloid buttons on them. As you can see, it's got on the back a 4-bolt neck join, no neck plate. It has a switch cover for the three-way switch. It has an electronics cover. And then it has, and this is something that I wish they had fixed, a cover for the Floyd, but it's not recessed. So whereas these two are recessed, the Floyd tremolo plate cover is not recessed. And I think that's a missed opportunity. It would have been much better if it were. And then, of course, your jack is on the side of the body. Now, one of the questions that people are surely going to ask me is how it compares to a Wolfgang model. And I have actually never had a Peavey Wolfgang model. I've played them before. I don't think I've played an American-made one. I think I've played whatever the import models were, 20 years ago or so, before Eddie Van Halen switched to the EVH guitars that are made by Fender. But compared to other Peavey guitars that are currently available, so like the Predators, the Rockmasters, the really budget-friendly models that are being offered, this is a high-end instrument. It is absolutely worth what I paid for it, though I would not have paid more than I did. So you'll have to decide whether or not it's worth it for you, but it seems like it's a really nice guitar. I actually much prefer it to the Van Halen guitar, the EVH that I reviewed on my channel, the Stealth 5150. And I'm hoping that what I can do, as I've mentioned before, my dad's a big Van Halen fan. What I can do is borrow some of his guitars and do a little shootout with my Peavey as well. And I do have the EVH 5150 amp, the 40 watt, which I really like, and it sounds amazing with this. So maybe I can do that video with the Peavey the EVH 5150 amp, so you can get a good sense of how those two synergize with each other. Beyond that, there's nothing much to say. When I got it home and I leveled the frets, I wasn't sure I was going to hold on to it. There were some things about it that I didn't like, namely the Floyd, but I've broken it in a little bit and I've been playing it a little bit and I've actually quite like it. And I think that now it's one that I will hold on to for a little while at least. because it has such a beautiful top and it has some really killer tones that I don't seem to get from my other guitars. So with all that said, let's move on to the sound demo. I tried to do sort of a rock type track for it. I'm, again, not Eddie Van Halen. I don't play anything like Eddie Van Halen, but I did try to give sort of a heavy rock demo for you so that you could check out the different tones. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the demo and got to check out the guitar a little bit. And if you have played one or you have one, please leave feedback below so that we can get a conversation going. And until the next video, please check out my others and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content I'm producing. Have a great day.